Vamos então aqui reagir ao vídeo I Build the Dream Smart Home Gym. Venham daí, caralho.
We need to talk to some experts to make sure that we're making this something special. And then we need to spend a lot of money actually buying the equipment, setting it up, and taking this bad boy for a spin. So I thought what we could do is to start with the small bits. Full body vibrating roll.
Não consigo ver porque tu eliminaste a cena, percebes? Mas é igual, está-se bem. Desta é malta para confiar.
Yeah, it's like the super tech version of a foam roller.
What's the Wave Duo?
Contoured to the back, spine and neck. Whoa, no way. The Theragun Pro Plus.
Não sei porquê, mas estou com a ideia que o gajo vai fazer um ginásio mesmo completamente maluco.
LED light therapy.
That's a lot of therapy.
Recovery air jet boots. I guess when I read the word jet boots, I'm almost imagining flying around the neighborhood, not recovering on your floor.
Oh look,
A edição deste gajo é só qualquer cena de
insane.
insane.
We could actually kit out our entire body with Therabody.
You'd be like the worst superhero ever. You'd just be very relaxed.
What's this, Matt?
Infrared. The infrared PEMF mat. Hello, sir. How's your PEMF?
This website is absolutely insane.
We should get some scales too. Apparently does a full scan of your
O gajo está a
body.
fazer basicamente um ginásio todo gerdado, é
It's
isso.
a cool feature. What normal product has someone not tried to turn into a smart alternative?
Bets that this says the words AI somewhere.
Yes! Elite music. Boxing training machine. Are you kidding me?
I love the idea of this. It makes it feel like you're at an arcade. Beat-driven workouts, punch to the rhythm. I'm interested in trying this.
I think it's cool. I think we should try it.
Have we done this before? Smart skateboard?
Vai comprar máquinas que não existem em ginásios. Se fizer como fez os outros quartos, mano, né? A gente vai ver ontem, vai comprar tecnologia, mano, de primeira linha, caralho.
My mind is how techy do we go for the gym? You can get a lot of really interesting looking tech gym gear. I just don't know how good it is. So one of them is the Vitruvian. So it's kind of like a yoga mat, but it's got handles that come out which allow you to lift weights, and it can adjust the resistance according to how much weight you want to lift.
So it looks like you can squat.
Que esta merda, bro. Nunca vi uma máquina destas.
Deadlift.
The power to deliver up to 200
Mas calhar
kilograms
sou eu,
in
mas-
one sleep package. I feel like we need to get a gym expert's opinion on this, because the tech side of me is completely sold on something like this. So we are about to jump on a call with Jeff Nippard. I was doing a lot of
Ok, o gajo
digging
não foi
before this, and
chamar
everyone
um
seems
gajo
to regard
fodido,
him
já.
as the go-to
Para lhe
guy
dizer
for
se são fixas as
science-backed
máquinas
gym
ou não.
knowledge. Hey!
Isso é inteligente.
What's up?
We could do with a bit of help. I'm looking at all this tech gym gear, and some part of me's thinking this might not actually be very good gym equipment. What do you think?
I think it depends on what your goals are going to be. Is your main goal to build muscle and strength?
Definitely muscular, strength, progressive overload.
Yeah. I have a list of like basics that I think you definitely want for those goals. That would be a power rack, so you can do squats, presses, pretty much any lift with a barbell. You need a barbell, and you need an adjustable bench, so you can do like flat presses, incline presses. Then from there, you need some kind of multi-purpose cable machine. And if you've got a set of dumbbells, that gives you even more versatility. And then after that, I would say like
Mas o gajo disse aquilo que qualquer pessoa diria, né?
because you're gonna find that really awkward on cables, honestly.
Oh man, this is really useful.
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much.
O gajo literalmente montou-lhe um ginásio.
Bye bye.
So the only decision that we have left to make is machines, which are actually going to make up the majority of the gym. Let's do treadmill. Yeah, best treadmill of all time. There's Peloton, obviously.
What I don't love that I think you have to have a subscription to get the main
Parece que quer ver
benefit
a
they're
guita
offering.
que o homem está aí a
Feels like the
gastar.
industry standard for exercise machines is calculated display and a resistive touchscreen at best. Oh wow. That's a tricky treadmill.
Foda-se, mano.
It's definitely the
Olha essa máquina de correr.
gym gear I've ever seen. We want to make sure that
Tablet
we're not
ali.
sacrificing on performance.
Mas tablet parece que tem bem funções.
The personalized consultation. We should probably just call them. So off we headed to Techno
Yeah,
Gym's
qualquer pessoa
London
dizia-lhe para ele
showroom
comprar
to
este tipo de
see for
cena.
ourselves.
How did Technogym come up with the world's greatest fragrance?
The diffusers coming out of the walls.
Technogym for men.
Right, first off, the treadmill, which was actually really impressive from a tech standpoint, but I did have one concern.
Could this damage your joints over time?
Generally, running on a treadmill is quite impactful for you, and running outside.
He explained that if we wanted to minimize the impact to our joints, which I certainly do, then we'd actually be better off going for a machine with slats. So we moved over to the Technogym Run, which was actually the more affordable machine since it wasn't part of Technogym's fancy designer line of products. But to me, this actually felt way higher performance. The thing was basically silent to run on thanks to these thick, shock-absorbing rubber slats, which is also what makes them better for your joints. Also, with this machine, you just place your phone on top and an NFC tag inside of it allows you to log directly into both your Technogym account so that you can track your workout details, but also all of
Isto é
your own
altamente.
personal
Para vocês
apps.
tentarem fazer mais que fizeram no dia
The thing that
anterior
also
e
really
estarem
impressed me,
sempre
though,
a
was
par dos
this
vossos
is a machine
resultados, é
for running,
fixe.
yes, but they've also managed to turn it into a strength training machine by being able to simulate the sled push. So if I start pushing, and then if I stop pushing, and then if I start pushing, yeah, exactly, yeah. That is fascinating. You can very easily decide a few things you want
Total,
to
a
do.
cena ele
and
conseguir
see how
manter
you
o
get better
ritmo
at
dele e a máquina não,
The amount of fixtures on
não
this
ficar a dar
one
gás
machine
sozinha. Deve haver essa
genuinely
opção
blew me
também, com a
away. I
certeza.
decided in this moment that we have to find a way to fit one of these in too. But we also knew that we wanted to get an elliptical as our second cardio machine.
Dizem que isto é a
That's
melhor
what I
máquina de
currently use every
ginásio.
day. Then Technogym introduced us to a new kind
Não sei
of
se é, se
elliptical
não é,
called
também não
the
sou
Artist
gajo
Vario.
muito
It's a
instruído
tool that
nessa
instead of your
área,
movements
acho
following
que
a
se
fixed
nota,
path, you can control where
mas a
your
malta
legs
diz que
go.
vocês trabalham,
You kinda have to
mano,
find a rhythm.
bué
But
de
when you
áreas
do, this
musculares.
thing is amazing because it's an elliptical, and then when you want it to be, it's also a step machine. It is absolutely insane how in depth the software is. It's got video visualization. That's pretty useful, actually. I think it works. But then the guy took us to what I would consider Technogym's hero products. It's a line of machines called BioStrength, where each one focuses on one muscle group, but takes that to the absolute limit.
One thing that you'll probably notice immediately is there's no
Eles
weight
que dá
stack.
para selecionados.
Machine.
Ih, bro, nah.
The BioStrength machines are actually using magnetic resistance for the weights, which is really cool because it means no clanging metal whenever you drop your weights, but also that you can control that weight electronically and select exactly how many
Já vi logo
kilos
que
you
o
want
gajo
to
ia para
lift,
estas
not just
craquices.
go up in 5
Mano, olha para isto, caralho. Nah. Vocês viram ali aquele
You can
joguinho?
also change the seat height.
Whoa.
Vá, mostra lá o joguinho outra vez.
That just went.
Foda-se.
Wow. Because you also can't take a break. Wow, that keeps you accountable.
Yeah.
Ah. Now, cool as that was, we decided we probably didn't have enough space to start getting one machine for every single muscle group, so we decided to just focus on the leg machine, since that's what Jeff recommended we go for if we were to only pick one.
This is 35 kilos, but then if you push it harder, it will give you way more resistance.
Oh, yeah.
It's a workload of
Oh, I see it. I don't know how much I buy into it, but there is also an AI built into these BioStrength machines that they call...
Brutal, mano.
At least in this BioStrength range, the equipment is way
Tem mais as
higher
outras
tech than I
até.
expected.
Acho que ele vai
I've
comprar
used
a mais
tons of
podre, mas já é
Technogym
para a
in
perna e ele não vai ter
commercial
nada
gyms,
para
and I guess
fazer
they either
perna,
tend to go for
portanto.
lower end stuff, or they're going for stuff that's just older and more functional. We can have a word with them about these bezels though. So that's BioStrength, but for some things, like your bench, you also just kind of want to keep it low-tech. It's the most comfortable gym bench I've ever sat on. This feels absolutely insanely comfy for a bench.
Também é
Like,
bem
you could
importante.
sit there reading a book on that thing. We also do need some storage for this room, and this was pretty good inspo, because the height of the rack means it can fit a lot of stuff in without taking up the much more valuable width of the room. So, dream equipment selected, now it's time to put everything in its place. And this was actually quite incredible to see, because these guys have
Mas deve ser
software that
sponsor ou
takes your
não?
floor plan, inserts
Não acham
each
que é
of the products
sponsor? Ele
you
levou as
picked,
cenas todas
including
daqui.
exactly how much space each one takes up.
6,80
So we use
por
this
6.
kind of like puzzle pieces to work out how everything fits. Then it gets better, because to make sure that it all aesthetically lines up, their software can also generate full 3D renders of what those machines would look like within your exact
Ui, vai
space,
atrancar uma beca, mas
which
vai
is
ficar
pretty
fixe
cool
por causa
tech
do
for a gym
espelho, vai
company, I
parecer que
gotta
tem mais
say.
espaço.
And then after this, we just had to find the perfect flooring, wait for our goodies to arrive, and then top it all off by creating smart systems that make this
Mano,
as
isto vai
slick
ficar
and
brutal.
automated
Este
as
gajo,
possible.
mano. A casa deste gajo.
And now, the ultimate smart home gym is finally ready.
Yeah,
This
curti de
right
ver
here
essas
is the
máquinas.
single most important room of the entire house for me. Because you might have seen, about 3 years ago, my fitness hit an all-time low. And with it, so did my confidence and my mood. It had a really bad effect on me. And so the entire goal of this dream gym is to never feel like that ever again. Come on in.
Nossa, mano, está brutal. Não é preciso mais que isto. Não é mesmo preciso
So we've
mais que
actually
isto.
spent the last
É
3
completamente
months
brutal.
optimizing, fine-tuning, and then re-optimizing this room to the point where, for us, This is now perfection thanks to 5 things. 5 decisions we've made that each take this gym up to a whole new level. So, level 1 is all about how do we eliminate friction? How do we make this as easy as possible to want to come and, crucially, to stay until we're done? So, did you notice something as I first walked through that door? I didn't need to turn on anything. And that's because our first step to achieving this pure frictionlessness is a motion sensor, which as soon as someone walks through the door will activate the lights, will turn on the TV, and it will set the air conditioning to a cool 18 degrees Celsius. Is this strictly necessary? No, of course not. But does this make it ever so slightly easier to just drift into this room and start a workout when you have 10 spare minutes? Yes. And that's the goal. And now that we are in the room,
Mas é fodido, mano. Está a pensar bem, mano. Assim não há mesmo
One
desculpa.
thing we noticed quite early was one of the main reasons that one of us would end up leaving the gym early was we were thirsty and we'd forgotten to bring a drink down with us. So in the event that that happens, having this mini fridge here eliminates that excuse, with the added benefit of you're going to perform better in the gym if you're really well hydrated. The second thing, though, that makes people want to leave this room is if their phones run out of battery. Obviously, the idea is not that you come to this room to sit on your phone, but if it does run out, then you are going to need to leave to go charge it.
Pois as
just in
máquinas têm
case
todas
someone
as
needs
cenas
to
de
reach you.
carregador.
So, it's helpful to have a charger.
O homem
in
pensou
here.
em tudo.
Now, we do actually have wireless charging baked into some of these techno gym machines, but frankly, it's pretty similar to the state of in-car wireless charging. It's slow and it only works about half the time. So, we have ended up buying 2 cryo boost chargers from ESR, and this is such an elegant solution. Because it means the first thing that I do when I walk into this room is I stick my phone on here while I'm taking out my gym gloves, and it's charging. It keeps my phone away from me, so I'm not checking it between every single lift, which makes gym time far more productive, and it serves as the perfect little gym clock.
Lá está, não chega o carregador podre. Pensar que eles usaram das
Unlike every
máquinas não
single proper
chega.
gym clock that we've seen. Also, yes, these guys have sponsored past videos. They're not sponsoring this one. I just think they're great. And it means that before we are even 5 steps
Eu
into
curto
this
esse tipo
gym,
de género de tapete que ele
we're
meteu na
ready to
parede,
gym.
mano. Não sei o que é
there's
isso, tem
one
uma LED à volta,
final
mas dá
cherry
uma
on
vibe
top for this
fixe.
level. So, put my wrist onto here, connect, and we are in. So, I use an Apple Watch for my health tracking, not because I think it has like medical grade accuracy or anything. It just makes it really fun. It makes me want to compete with my friends and to do better than them. And so it is so cool to me that I don't need my phone. I don't need to manually type anything in. I just tap this watch on one of these machines, and because this is
Vai
all
ter
Apple
ginásiozinho
Gym
assim
Kit
como ele tem aqui,
compatible,
mano.
the watch tells the machine all of my details, so
Mano,
my
treinava
height,
todos
my
os
weight,
dias.
etc. And then the
Estava
machine
rápido em
tells the
forma,
watch
mano.
all of the workout details, like pace, like incline, which means that both machines work together to give you the most accurate, most instant workout tracking I have ever had, which, because it's happening through the Apple Watch, is all automatically logged directly onto the friend leaderboards that I'm trying to climb to the top of. I just love it. So, now that we've successfully got ourselves to use the gym, level 2 is how do we maximize space in the gym? And there's 2 parts of this, both of which I think could be really useful for any home gym design. So number 1 is building vertically. With every single thing that we've put into this gym, the key resource that I've been trying to preserve is floor space. The more vertical space we use, the more floor space we get to keep. And so the more features we can get in here, and the more open it's gonna feel. That's why we've gone for completely vertical racks for our dumbbells. That's why instead of a punching bag, I really like the idea of a flat punching wall. Not the only reason though, this is a very unique gadget. I'm getting there. And that's why, instead of placing a bunch of plants
Mas
around
pensou
the
em
room
tudo,
on the
mano.
floor
Acho
for
que faz bué de
freshness,
sentido.
we've gone for a wall-mounted moss feature. This is from the same company who made the one in our office, by the way. And for those of you who are asking, yes, it's real. No, it's not still alive. It's dead, and they preserve it with a spray. Oh, and it's also why we created a custom cabinet around this mini fridge, just so that we could build, you're probably starting to understand what makes me happy at this point, a charging station for all the smaller gym gadgets vertically above it. Which means that all of this stuff has a place, and all of this stuff is always fully charged. But then, the second part of this whole space
Mano,
maximization
estou a adorar,
equation
tipo,
is
mas
making
eu
sure
gostava
that
de saber
the
quanta guita que ele
tallest
gastou
parts of your
nisto.
machines
Ele não
are
mostrou bem.
closest to the walls. Now,
Na cena
you
do
might not
backyard
always be
ficou
able to
bem
do
evidente
this,
o
but
dinheiro
if
que ele
you can,
gastou.
it'll mean that even though there might not be physically more space for your feet, it will still psychologically feel like there is more space because you're not seeing as many visual obstructions from up here. But level 3 is where we get to the meat of this gym. So we bought our dumbbells from a company called Black Box. I just really like how no nonsense their design is. And then all of these adjustable weights are from a company called Bowflex. And honestly, I think this thing right here is an
Isso aqui
absolutely
já vi num
amazing
ginásio
product.
deste
Like,
estilo.
if you think about this compared to these two towering dumbbell racks, this takes up a quarter of the space while actually being able to go heavier. These things go up to 41 kilos each compared to just 30. I think their adjustable kettlebell is also very good for the same reason. And then the barbell is, I imagine for a lot of people, the single most useful form factor because it actually saves you a ton of time versus having to come over here, take this off, load weights onto this bar, put this back on, secure it in place. It's just that I don't think this one is
comprou
quite
esta
as
cena toda
good a
nova, né?
product as the other two. I just find the weight loading mechanism a little bit fiddly. It's really easy to miss the exact spot that you have to put it back into to be able to change the weight. But the key thing that I think we have got right in this room is the machines. You've already seen which ones we ended up going for, but this is where I get to show you what actually makes them special. First things first, the Vitruvian. And if you actually stop and think about what this thing is
Foi outra que
claiming
ele
to be,
ligou para o gajo e o
it
gajo
sounds
disse que não
bonkers.
precisava
They are
disto,
pitching
né?
this thing as an entire
Só que tinha
gym
LEDs
for
e ele não
people
conseguiu
who don't
resistir,
have
de
an
certeza.
entire gym. But the more surprising part of this is that I actually think it's closer to that objective than you think. To get the downside out of the way, while it does save you space, it doesn't save you cost. This is a $3,000 slab. And if you want the full feature set, it is another $40 per month. And if you stop paying that $40, you lose access to your workout history. But then on the other hand, if you really think about this, it's kind of a miracle. I mean, this as a piece of hardware is like barely thicker than a chunky yoga mat. It does weigh 30 kilograms, but then with that 30 kilograms, it actually
tipo
allows you
200
to
quilos de
lift
força,
any
mano.
weight you want up to 200
percebo
kilograms
caralho,
thanks
mas-
to magnetic resistance on the inside. This one machine does actually give you the capability of this entire weights rack and more, not to mention software that does a pretty good job at gamifying the whole thing. And it's also just really well put together. There's so much smart gym gear that when you get it, it just
Tem
feels
ali treinos
cheap
e
and
isso, mano.
creaky
Tem
and
uma
plasticky.
TVzinha, mano. Tem
This is not
Spotify,
that.
tem
So
tudo, mano.
we probably won't keep this because, you know, we're lucky
Já eles
enough
estavam a
to
dizer que era
have
com
the
ímã,
equipment that this is designed
força
to
magnética.
simulate. But if you don't and you're willing to put up with the cost of this,
Mesmo assim não
I think
consigo
it's a
perceber
really
muito
good
bem como é
product.
que funciona, mano.
Then
É
we've
brutal.
got the centerpieces, all of these technogym machines.
Ele
And
estava a dizer que ia
again,
só
key
comprar a
caveat
das
out of the way
pernas, mas
first,
comprou tudo,
given
mano.
how expensive these things are, you would expect them to be able to go heavier by default. Like for the dual adjustable pulley machine, they only ship this by default with 35 kilos on either side. 35 kilos is not a lot of weight, and you have to pay extra to get 50. Or for the squat rack, what you see here is the total weights that this thing shipped with, which is not enough to do any kind of serious lifting, so we've ordered more. Right, so that said, these are the best exercise machines I have ever interacted with. And not even because you can actually
Foda-se, ficas a jogar Angry Birds,
an
mano.
Android-based layer. It's partly
Quando estás a
the fact
correr,
that they've
mano.
thought about the little things
Isso é outro
that
nível,
a lot
mano.
of gym companies
É
tend to
mesmo outro
overlook.
nível.
Things like how every pulley mechanism feels completely frictionless.
Já
how
custa
the
4
benches
mil
are
ou
so
5 ou 7
intuitive,
mil
you
paus
literally
uma máquina.
lift it to lift it. There's no pull out this pin, look for the hole, try and line it up and get it back in. And if you want to lower it, not to mention the upper layer is actual memory foam. I love how the machines have built-in storage for all the extras, so they're not strewn around on the floor. How most of the surfaces are padded, so that there's very little in the way of metal clanging against metal, and how everything that
Tipo
needs to be
estas máquinas que ele está a
adjusted can be
mostrar agora, lá
adjusted with
está.
one hand.
Deve ser
But the other
caríssimo.
thing that I've been so impressed by,
Máquinas de
that
ginásio são
I
caras
did
por
not
si só.
expect to be impressed by, is the fusion of the hardware and the software. So let's say I jump onto this elliptical and I want to join a class. It's very immediately obvious that these classes are specifically built for people using this exact piece of hardware. You can see your coach using the same exact machine. They'll even point to things that you can interact with on your screen. Because, for example, you can do every single session in 3 levels of difficulty, with the further ability to tune it to your exact level. And then, like, I originally thought all of these outdoor exploration things were really silly, but when you click on one, you're not just watching a video taken on someone's phone that has zero relation to the effort that you're putting in. It is actually all synced up, so I can see how far in kilometers I've got left to go. I can see stats of the walk, like incline and elevation, and the machine will actually adjust itself to factor in what is happening on screen. It's not going to replace actually going outdoors, but one day doing a street side tour in Italy, one day climbing Mount Etna,
bacana,
it
mano,
does
isto é
add a bit of that much
Podes
needed
escolher o sítio onde vais
variety into
correr
what
e
can
a cena
otherwise become
está.
quite a stale form of exercise. And you can even do crazy stuff. Like yesterday, I went on a real life run, yes, outside of the house. So on this machine, I can pull up that run, and race against myself. This will pull up the exact route I did, and I can try and
Mano,
compete
isto é
against my
altamente,
past
caralho.
self, knowing that this is also factoring in all the hills and troughs of that run and adjusting its own elevation to match.
Estás a ver o que o gajo está a fazer, mano? Está a correr contra a corrida que ele foi fazer ontem.
Sheer number of stats. These things record and log everything.
Parece
From
bué,
heart rates
tipo,
that
não
track
fazer
automatically
sentido
through
ou
the
não
handles,
ser,
to burn power, to step
ser bué
length.
útil,
And
mas
since
é,
the
mano.
easiest way to progress in
É
the gym
brutal.
is basically just
Converte
to
a
try
cena
and
de
do a
correr
little
isso
more than
tipo
you did
num
last
jogo
time. I've never been able to
contra
see
vocês,
that
mano.
progression as clearly as I can now. And that is a pretty good segue onto level 4. So level 4 is what takes this gym from a gym that's easy to come to a gym that you want to keep coming back to. How do we build in accountability? And this iPad is an important part of that. So on this iPad is every single thing that we need to use while we're in the gym and nothing more than that. That's by design. So all the music, for example, in the gym is controlled on here, but more importantly, so is all the workout tracking. I actually use the Aria AI.
Ui, parem aí, what? Desculpa.
And I may have also lost a bet with my team, which means I have to do this entire thing while doing press-ups. So what's the best rated app on iPad for tracking my workouts? Okay, just about. There's one called Center, Nike Training Club, Apple Fitness Plus. So this one that it's labeled here, Heavy, is the app that I've ended up using, partly because it has quite a wide library of exercises. So when you're setting up your workouts, it already knows what you're trying to do. But mostly, honestly, just because I love the user interface. And it's really good at showing you your progress. But then also, I can just ask Aria,
O homem está a ficar careca ali atrás, tem de
I
meter
want
cabelo
my
também, mano.
biceps look bigger, build me my perfect workout plan.
Como assim, ó Bruce? Não serve o quê? Esta aplicação?
The entire thing end to end, from which exercises to how many reps to top tips to making sure that you achieve your goals. Not to even mention that Opera now has the
Ginásio para ti não serve, porque treinas muito.
The way that Opera lets you just drag a tab to one side to open it next to your existing tab is so seamless. And they have about
Treinas
a million
muito,
ways to
treinas
customize
muito,
the
mano.
thing to look just
É
the way you
250
want with
quilos
these
cada
new
vez, mano.
themes. Link below to download the Opera browser for free. Oh.
Now, the second
Mano, eu
part of
adorava
making
ter uma
sure
cena
we keep
tipo este
ourselves
gymzinho que o gajo
is
tem
this
aqui.
board.
Gymzinho, como
So
quem
this
diz,
is a
7
hab
metros por
tracker.
6,
You can
é
use this
grande.
for basically anything. But the way that we've set this up is every time we do a full workout, we just slap a sticker on here on the way out of the room. It seems really simple, but for us, it's a really nice way of, without needing to take out your phone or open up an app, to see when you've been slacking, but also when you've outdone yourself. And that feels really good. But I've been saving the best till last. The single best thing that you can do for your gym once all the fundamentals are solid is to make it fun. So this is nightclub mode, and it's cooler than I ever thought a gym could be.
Mano, eu ia agora puxar um treininho na boa. Mano, se tivesse um gym desses em casa, eu ia puxar um treininho agora. Acabava a live, siga.
6 of them, as well as a dedicated subwoofer, so you actually feel the bass. We added a 10-meter Philips Hue light strip going all the way around the moss wall on this side, and then 5 3-meter Philips Hue light strips in between the wooden paneling here, mostly because it syncs to the music. Oh yeah. And we painted this. Last time you saw this paneling, it was just plain natural wood. But as soon as we realized that we wanted to have this dark mode nightclub option, it became pretty clear that we needed to spray paint the whole thing. But the single coolest part of this entire gym is that the dancing of the lights on the walls, which syncs to these speakers that are playing out the ceiling, also syncs to the boxing wall. Now, I will say, it's not the most polished product I've ever used. You have to put up with an app that's, how do I put this, not particularly premium and quite clearly just Google translated over from a Chinese version and not particularly well. But to be fair, the core functionality does work quite
não me
well.
parece
And
muito que isto
if
esteja
you
bem
haven't done a
preso.
lot of boxing before, the calories
Será que
burned
tá?
per minute is something else. I actually can't fathom how people can get into a ring and stay at it for over
Este gajo,
30
mano, a
minutes,
qualidade de
especially
vídeo deste
when
gajo é
their
uma cena
opponent
tipo completamente
actually
insana, mano.
punches them back. So that is the dream gym. Now we'll catch you in the next one.
Ganda videozinho, caralho. Calma lá. Não, chega. Ganda videozinho, mano. Deixar aquele like. Gaming Setup, não. Deixar aquele like.